from the Nerdy Basement. I'm here today with Roye Okupe. I should have asked you this before, actually.
Oh,
Like
you
Okupe, I
you
got
hit
it.
the nail on the head, man. Yep.
Oh, love it. All right, cool. I feel so bad when I murder anybody's last names. I don't want to do that to you. So, Roye, thank you for joining us in the basement. First off, how are you doing today?
I'm cool. I'm literally in the basement, so this is pretty apropos. I'm sorry, I started with a terrible joke.
No, it's perfect.
But no,
Love it.
I'm doing really well, and I'm happy to be here and
Mhm.
get into it and discuss
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, please. You're taking time from your busy schedule, and thank you for coming on. Again, this is huge. You know, you've been doing a lot of things with your career. I've read your bio and all that fun stuff. We don't obviously we're gonna put this into the like the article and all that, so people
Okay.
can get the details and all that. But you're very accomplished. You and Unique Studios. You know, you've already put out. Side note, love that you use Neek. I had to look that up because I thought it was a twofold, by the way. I thought it was
Yeah.
unique as in like, you're a unique person and so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. And then to find
Mm-hmm.
out Neek was slang for a nerd and a geek and you just guys
Right.
just put it together. Was that, I had the side where I had the sidetrack. Was that the plan all around? Like,
It
is
was
that?
honestly, it was a happy coincidence. Because honestly, when I was trying to come up, and sorry
Mhm.
if you hear my daughter, she's
Oh.
screaming. Yeah, she's trying to get down here, but I apologize for that. But yeah, it was a happy coincidence
Yeah.
because when I was trying to come up with a name for the company, I was like,
Mhm.
I need something unique. I just need something unique. I was like, oh wait, Unique Studios. But yeah, coming to find out that later, like you said,
Mhm.
nerd and geek combined. So
Yeah.
it was just like a very, very lucky and happy coincidence. But I was
Oh
I was
wow.
this close to taking credit for it and lying
Mhm.
about it, but I was just like, no, let me answer the first question truthfully. So
Dude, that just goes way further with your integrity. I love it. That's amazing. But that's a great coincidence. And like I
yes.
said, I was like, I saw the name. I'm like, wow, that's really cool sounding. I was like, I like that. I
Yeah.
was like, let me see what this means. But yeah, you guys have done already a great amount for the universe. You have
Yes.
titles like Malika, you have EXO,
Yes.
Windmaker,
Yes.
and of course the recent Child of Wonder from Iyanu.
Yes.
What do you think sharing these stories of Afrofuturism is doing for like a global impact?
Man, that's a good question, and I
Mhm.
think I always have a
Mhm.
different answer every time
Oh,
somebody asks.
perfect.
But I think in general, what I feel like is doing is that it's showing that diversity is more than just on the page or on the screen. It
Mhm.
should also be behind the scenes, like who is writing, who is producing, who is executive producing, who's funding,
Mhm. Mhm.
who's directing. And to me, to be in this very lucky position to write comics, now I'm going to be writing and directing
Mhm.
animation.
Okay.
Um, is I feel very privileged. I feel very lucky. Obviously, I've
Mhm.
worked very hard to be in this position, but I think what it's going to do is not only is it going to bring African culture, history, and mythology to the forefront
Mhm.
for a global audience.
Yeah.
It's also going to, I believe, inspire the next generation or even the current generation
Mhm.
of creators of color and diverse creators to really go out there and put their material out there. I always say that to me, honestly, I'm not necessarily the most gifted writer or creator, but for me, what I focus on is I've never been um shy to just put my work out there. Like,
Nice.
if I'm going to fail, let me fail quickly,
Mhm.
let me learn for it, and let me iterate, from there. And I think that's one of the things that has
Mhm.
really helped me in my career. So I think what I'm doing, what I really hope, actually, let me not say what
Mhm.
it's going to do. What I hope it's going to do is going to push people who have that burning desire inside of them
Yeah.
to create, to actually take a chance on themselves like I did.
Oh wow, well said, well said. I love it, and again, you just like pointed out as well, Child of Wonder, Iyanu, and all that. She's just been greenlit by HBO Max. That's awesome. Congrats on that. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah.
What can you touch upon with the series, with the upcoming series?
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Mhm.
obviously it's great news.
Mhm.
this is something that I've worked for about 15 years to get to this point, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know that I started out with animation before I went into comics. When I first decided that I wanted to create my own stories, I was able to raise a little bit of money, and I did a short film that was titled EXO: The Legend of Wilder Williams, which I ended up converting into a graphic novel.
Yeah.
I shopped it around Hollywood, and this was before Black Panther made a huge splash. And people started to pay more attention to stories, based on African culture, history, and mythology. And I just couldn't get anywhere with it. So that's when I decided to go into comics. But to see it come back full circle, to be in this position now where I am, to be working with HBO Max and Cartoon Network, and also Lionforge Animation is going to be producing and financing this project as well. For those that don't know, Lionforge is one of the only, I believe the only Black-owned company to win an Oscar. They won it for Hair Love, I think in 2019, for their short film. So to be able to be partnered with such an amazing studio like that on this project in conjunction with HBO Max and Cartoon Network is a dream come true for me. There's a lot of synergy, and also I have to be very thankful to HBO, Cartoon Network, and Lionforge, because I get to be executive producer and creator on this animated show, and I also get to write and direct a couple of episodes. Usually that stuff doesn't happen for somebody that's coming from the comic book space. So it just goes to show the commitment from HBO, Cartoon Network, and Lionforge in terms of how much they want to empower Black and African creatives and diverse creators. And it's going to be fantastic for people that have read the books. Obviously, you know how amazing Iyanu is, but what we're doing with the animation, my goodness, I need to keep quiet because I don't want to get in trouble. But this is something that nobody has ever seen before, and it's going to be so amazing when it finally comes out. But the books are out there now, so I always encourage people, rather than waiting a few years, you can actually start to see what the story is like in the graphic novel.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, I was like, I read volume 1 actually last night. I love the world building you already created and all that, like especially like you said, like you love the mythology and the history and the culture of like your culture and all that. And I think that's what dragged me in further. I was like, I love that you gave me the last, like on the last book pages and everything, some of the actual history points. Hey, the Divine War and so on. I'm like, oh, this is what I want. I'd like feed me. I was like, I need this. And I'm just like, okay, cool. So I'm like, if this is any indication, like it's already visually stunning. Your artists on the book and everything did a great job there and everything, giving us like such visuals, and everything is already like, I'm excited for it. I'm already excited. It's speaking on Iyanu and all that, she is a very strong character. And I assume that do you feel that she's going to be a great role model for kids that can look up to right now?
Kids and adults, actually. One of the things that inspired me to create Iyanu was I know that one of my greatest animated series ever is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And
I was like, this has a touch of it. I was like, I feel The Last Airbender. I love it.
So there's a lot of influences from that story in terms of what I'm doing with Iyanu. And I think if anybody has watched Avatar, kids and adults can learn a lot from Aang and Katara, Sokka, and all these different characters. So for me, I do feel like she would be a positive role model. Iyanu, just for people that haven't read the book, it's a action adventure fantasy story that takes place in Yoruba land. Yoruba land is a fictional world that's inspired by the real Yoruba culture, which is my culture from Nigeria. And the story follows Iyanu, who is a teenage orphan girl that loses all recollection of her memory on a journey to figure out who she is and where she comes from. She discovers that she has these powers that rival the gods of her land, and it is only these powers that can save her and her people from what we call the corrupt, which is the animals that have gone berserk, and basically all they want to do is destroy humanity. So you like I said, in the realm of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, you get this very high concept action adventure fantasy, magical creatures, awesome fight sequences, great world building. But at the core of Iyanu is really a story about there's greatness in each and every one of us, and sometimes you just have to dig deep to find that. And I think that's something that anybody can relate to it. Even just as creators ourselves, like there's something that's inside of us that we want to share, whether it's like, you doing a podcast, me writing, people directing, like there's always that burning desire inside of us. But sometimes because of fear or lack of self-confidence, we don't want to bring that out. And that's what Iyanu experiences. She has this extraordinary gift, but there's a lot of fear, but she takes that first step. When she gets outside of the city, she takes that first step. That first step is usually the most important. And then you just keep putting each foot, ahead of the next. And I think that to me, that's one thing that kids and adults, can relate to. And speaking of the art, like I want to give credit also to Godwin Akpan, who was the illustrator on the book. One of the good news is that he's going to be the art director on the show. That's another crazy thing.
That's great.
That usually doesn't happen, right? But to get that continuity from the books, like me as a writer and creator, now executive producer, and then the artist on the book being art director, it just goes to show that we're going to replicate what we've done in the books and take it to another level times 1,000 with the animation.
Oh, that's amazing. And so, you touched on it as well. Like, is this did you choose Iyanu to be your launching point with this partnership with HBO Max because of the reason why she can resonate with both, the adults and children compared to using maybe like Malika, because I saw that short that you made and all that as well. Like you could tell she's very strong, and it looks like it's a combining universe with Windmaker, excuse me. And so is that the reason why you're using Iyanu as the launching point for this cooperation?
Yeah, I mean, so if you ask any creator that has IP, right, you rarely do you get to choose like, oh, I want to work with this person as a launching point and connect. Like I was just looking like who's gonna give me a chance to create an animated series. And HBO Max, they loved Iyanu, they saw it and they were like, this is what we want to do. So I'm hoping that this partnership and this whole series creates like a lot of awareness for not just me, but my stories. And then hopefully we can see some of these other characters get their own shine, whether it's in animation or live action, as well. But I'll be lying to you if I was like, oh, this is my master plan, let me start with Iyanu. It was literally about who's going to give me a chance first. And like I said, I'm eternally grateful to all the executives at HBO Max and Cartoon Network for seeing the potential in Iyanu, and then also for Lionforge Animation coming on board, financing, producing the animation, believing in me and Godwin to put us in leadership roles, to be able to, really bring something to the table in animation that nobody has seen before.
Yeah, no, totally. Like it angers me that I'm like, I didn't know about this ahead of time. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm like, why is it, where was this buried? I was like, no one, I can't understand where this story did not get, any type of publication like earlier on, but I'm glad that it's happening now. This is going to be huge. And like I said, I've read, it like volume 1, volume 2 comes out in October, correct? For Iyanu?
Yeah. So it comes out in comic book stores in 2 weeks, actually, I think September 13th. And then obviously everywhere else, bookstores, Amazon in October. There's a lot of issues with logistics, like shipping and printing books like this. It's a huge mess, honestly. Sometimes it's hard to really get the release date for direct market and the book market at the same time. So it'll be out in comic book shops first, September, and then everywhere else in October.
Oh, perfect. So that's why the reason why I asked is because the promo image that we got from the HBO Max, I'm not going to say it's spoilery, but I feel like it kind of showed me a little bit more than what I knew.
Yes,
so
it did.
I got to ask. So is the because I'm like that hasn't happened.
I didn't see
yet.
That hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I know.
I was like, don't get me wrong, you hinted for me, and I'm not even going to tell everybody what's happening, but you hinted it for us in the early pages, and I'm just like, but I was like, it hasn't happened yet. So I was like, okay. So the question is like,
that's funny.
is the series, is it
Yeah.
going to be a full encompassing series of volume 1 and 2, or are
Hmm.
we going to see maybe a 2 season that is, spanning both volumes?
Yeah, my goodness, I can't answer that question. I wish I
Okay.
could. I wish I could, but I'm telling you, I would definitely get in trouble if I talk too
Fair
much,
enough.
if I talk too much about it. But this is what I'll say. Like in the coming months, there's going to be a couple of announcements
Oh,
being made. And that one of them
mhm.
is going to answer some of those questions that are
Perfect.
some, I mean, that some parts of that question
Yeah.
that you asked. But
Mhm.
I'm literally like, I've had emails from producers saying like, all these interviews you're doing, don't say this. So I have to be very, because usually I'm used to like, okay, because when I'm writing my comics, that's
Yep.
my world, right? So I say
Yes.
whatever I want to say, even if I want to
Exactly.
spoil. But now it's like I have
Mhm.
to be very careful and respectful
Hey,
to
fair
everybody
enough.
else.
Oh,
Yeah.
fair enough. We want you to actually give us this content. We don't want it as much as we love scoops. I was like, fair enough. Like, trust me, we're never going to get mad about that again. But oh man, I'm totally excited for HBO Max, like I said. And
Yeah.
it's the volume one definitely took me back. I
Yeah.
definitely, like I told you, I was like, I need to see more of that
Yeah.
prequel stuff too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
just want to see, imagine again, I'm going back into spoiler territory again. I don't want you to get in trouble, but like, what can you tell us that now? Like, you definitely touched upon it, I feel like, but seeing these new voices and new visions from creators such as yourself and everything, what does it mean
Yeah.
for the diversity for future of comic books?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're getting to see a lot of that in comic books already. There's a
Mm-hmm.
renaissance definitely of diversity and diverse creators.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is that I hope it becomes less of an event and more of something that's just like it's normal. Like
Yeah.
if you go out in the world, if you
Mm-hmm.
travel, there's diverse people all over the world. There's diverse people in the United States as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like just step out of your house, go to a mall, go to a park. That's what life is, right? So
Yeah.
I don't go to a mall and see diverse people and I'm like, oh my God, like there's a lot of diversity in this mall. It's
Yeah.
normal, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping that we get to in the coming years where
Mm-hmm.
we see all these different types of stories and it's normal and it's not an event where we have to praise people for, oh, they did a good job by being diverse. It's almost like that should be the default in the industry, whether it's comics, animation,
Mm-hmm.
TV, and film. So my hope is that the more you see people like me, other diverse creators get opportunities to extend their creations from books to film and animation, that it just becomes something that we can all just see as normal. Because
Totally.
as human beings, I think one thing that is one of the reasons why people love to travel a lot, because they get to
Mm-hmm.
experience different cultures and different places and different worlds.
Of
And that's
course.
what I think entertainment really can do, is expose people
Mm-hmm.
from the comfort of their couch or their desk, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
reading or watching, different worlds, different cultures, different people, and get to not only be entertained, but be inspired and educated about different cultures that they may not have been able to expose themselves to.
Of course. Oh no, that's awesome. And so, would you say that with this deal with Warner Brothers really, like, because I'm sure you know about it, the Milestone Initiative?
Yes.
Can you say this is like it's a huge impact for this initiative and everything going down with Milestone?
Yeah, I believe
Mhm.
so. And
Yep.
I have a couple of friends in the
Mhm.
Milestone Initiative.
Oh, nice.
So proud of them. And
Mhm.
and honestly, if you go back to the 90s, Milestone was huge for creators like me, right?
Mhm.
The likes of Dwayne McDuffie and what he did with some of his creations, I think paved the way for people
Totally.
like me to be able to have an opportunity to do what I'm doing,
Mhm.
today. To see this new initiative and to see obviously Warner and HBO Max putting a lot of resources behind it to create this new crop of talent and expose them to a larger audience. I think it's fantastic, and I think that's
Mhm.
what Milestone did in the 90s, and I'm hoping that this new initiative is going to do again. It's going to inspire
Mhm.
more people to come out, look at people that look like them doing things that they want to do, and take that initiative to be able to say, I can do this as well. I want to
Yeah.
be a writer. I want to be an artist.
Mhm.
I want to be an animator, and go out there and really just create and put your work out there, and hopefully, like, yeah, get it being seen by people, and also like having people like of different races, different cultures,
Mhm.
different backgrounds, having the opportunity to tell their stories as well.
Nice. And I have to ask, like, if you had the chance to create a new superhero or
Mhm.
character for the Milestone verse, are you open to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I am. Oh, look, if anybody from Milestone is listening, reading, watching, whatever, obviously that's something that would be a dream come true for me, because like I
Oh,
said,
beautiful.
Static Shock was one of my favorite cartoons and characters growing up as well too. So you know, Icon, Rocket, like
Yeah.
it's something that it's just, these are legendary worlds and characters. So honestly, that would be huge for me personally.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah. Like I think you're around the same age as me, by the way. And so I'm like, yeah, I grew up on the Static Shock show as well.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and the current run that they're doing amazing. So I would love for you to like, put a story together, even for a current character like Static or something, but
right,
also, grow the, like, the Dakota verse or
exactly.
Milestone universe. And that would
Yeah,
be freaking amazing, man.
yeah.
Roy, I think that's all the questions I really had today. You've been wonderful. Actually, can you? I know you said there's a press release coming in. Can you
Yeah.
just give the people, when is it, like, when can we expect Iyanu and A Child of Wonder coming in for the HBO Max here? Are you allowed to say that?
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to say. There's so much I
Perfect.
want
No
to
worries.
say, because I'm. If you go on my
Yeah.
my YouTube channel, if
Mm-hmm.
you see some of the stuff, like I'm a huge share. Like I love to
Mm-hmm.
share information, but
Yeah.
my God, like I want to keep my job, so it's like I have to be very careful.
Oh
But
yeah.
I will say this: if you follow us on Unique Studios,
Mm-hmm.
YOUNWEK, and the word Studios, on
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, and Twitter, or just follow our newsletter on uniquestudios.com. You will be the
Perfect.
first to know when big news
Mm-hmm.
drops on Iyanu.
Awesome. Everybody listening and watching at home, you heard it first. Follow Unique Studios. Look out for Iyanu, Child of Wonder on HBO Max, and all the upcoming news from there. Roy, once again, this has been a pleasure. It's been great meeting you, and thank you for taking some time to enjoy the basement with us.
Definitely, my pleasure, and
Right.
thank you for having me.
Anytime, man. You're welcome back whenever you like. And hey, when you actually can't talk more about Iyanu, let us know, and we'll set something up again, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks so
Definitely.
much.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.